there's no question that sort of what makes Airbnb so fascinating and so challenging is it does blur these boundaries between these sort of tourist spheres and geographic regions. And it's like, okay, if I go to the Louvre, like I'm going to be surrounded by tourists. Like if I live in Paris and I go to the Louvre, like I know that that's okay. If I go to the Eiffel Tower, I'm going to be surrounded by tourists. But it used to be, but if I go back to my condo building, then I'm not. But now Airbnb has blurred those boundaries. And now suddenly the condo building and, the neighborhood street are also sort of quote unquote touristified.
That was my guest, Dr. Daniel Guttentag, a professor of hospitality and tourism management at the College of Charleston. As just a sneak peek into our conversation that kicks off this entire season, it's going to dive into this issue of short-term rentals that so many people are feeling, whether it be in small cities, medium cities, small rural areas, but people are feeling this across the globe. And so throughout this whole season, I'll be talking with people from different perspectives to see all of the different ways that people are trying to attack these negative issues that are coming with, we say short-term rentals, but as you'll find out as the season unfolds, it might not necessarily be short-term rentals in general that are the issue, but rather simply the way that Airbnb does business. I chose to kick off the season with Daniel and I's conversation because we're both tourism scholars, and it's hard to have a conversation about Airbnb, about short-term rentals, without tourism being kind of tossed around from both sides. Either we're doing it in the name of tourism or we are mad at tourism on the other side. And so both of us kind of come from this mutual understanding that we can't necessarily tackle problems that are related to tourism without bringing in these perspectives of all different people. Part of that being the fact that short-term rentals are not new. Short-term rentals did not get introduced with Airbnb. They have been around in some tourism destinations well before the technology for Airbnb even existed. So how do we make sure that we're still providing opportunities for the tourists to have places to stay, opportunities for residents in those communities to make money and to benefit from tourism in those communities? How we can help and not just be mad at our elected officials and lawmakers in fighting some of the tactics that you'll hear throughout the season, some of the tactics that Airbnb employs to make sure that once it gets its fingers in a community, it's so hard to get it out. Because the one thing that we could all agree on throughout this season is, for one, we're not going to tackle this problem alone. One group, one perspective is not going to be able to tackle this problem. And for two, we're not going to be able to tackle the problem until we can actually hold the platform itself accountable. So as much as it may make us feel better in the moment to squirt tourists with water guns or to graffiti outside of known Airbnb places in our neighborhood, what you'll find out from this season is those tactics are really the result of a lot of misplaced anger. And they really alone won't do much to stop what's already happening. Maybe you're just starting to notice some of the negative impacts happening in your neighborhood, then be sure to subscribe so that you can see all of the different episodes as they unfold. And like I said, together, maybe we can all start figuring out ways that we as tourists and community members can play a role in making this happen.